The driver's been something that's kind of plagued me my whole golf career, quote unquote, and it's certainly not not getting any better. I thought I had found things going well with the old driver, and then I purchased this one. And like I said, I almost kind of regret it because I was hoping for some kind of magic transformation, and it certainly didn't happen. But I'm dedicated to progression and improvement at this game, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So this is the best way I know how to do it. We are going to sit here and watch every drive that I spent about an hour at a range. I did not record every single shot, but we're getting right to it. Okay, so let's get to it. We're going to see. I talk about like, since you can't really see where the shot goes, what I did was I just started like calling it out, and we'll see if we can notice anything. Slight fade, medium fade. So right out of the gate, yeah, I'm struggling a lot with like fading the ball now. When I played with my uncle, we went up. His wife's, like my aunt's birthday was Saturday. We went up there and played 9 holes together at a course near him, and I was hitting the ball well, but it was like kind of drifting right, kind of like fading, I guess is what you call it, right? I was saying like, oh my God, I'm still slicing the ball. Now with the old driver, if I ever did that, it was like, whoo, like really, really, really pronounced. He's like, that's not a slice, that's a fade. I was like, okay, but I didn't mean to do that. It's like, I'm not doing it on purpose. So I don't really know how to feel about the whole situation, but we're going to see if we can learn anything from these strikes here today, because or more so, maybe you can learn. Maybe somebody out there will watch this and then they could learn something that could help me, because I don't really know. All I know is for sure, there's times, well, a lot of the time I spent on the range today was just kind of experimenting, kind of just trying to get a feel for the new club. It's so much freaking lighter than the other club. I'm having a lot of trouble dealing with that. So yeah, I think kind of right out of the gate, you're gonna see how I feel about that one. Dead straight. That one was hit well. It looked like it. But so I'm not sure, what we can actually learn from it. Let's hit it again here, or let's watch it again, because I think the setup and kind of like my body's posture and positioning is more important than anything. And it feels like I'm kind of already I kind of over whatever, like I shifted my weight a bit to the back leg and tilted the spine a bit. And then as we progress here, we're going to get even more pronounced with that. But I think this is kind of my big problem here. If you see the elbow, a long time ago, I didn't necessarily take a proper lesson, but a professional golfer, the guy who was the pro at Glenmar, the assistant pro actually, he watched me swing like 6 or 7 times, and he was like, your right arm is way too far from your body. It's causing like all kinds of sync issues. That was like a long time ago. And I just don't really know how to solve that. Like, I don't know what to do, like, other than like kind of tuck your arm in. And as we progress on this, you're going to see that actually kind of happens by accident. And I can't remember. Oh, that's definitely not right. I'm trying to remember the controls here, but I can't remember them. Anyway, we're just going to let this play out. I have some commentary to make along the way, but I just want to watch every single one. Figure I'll give candid reactions as we do, and we'll see. I think it's E. Yeah, there we go. Next frame. So you can see the shaft is already quite whippy compared to my old driver. I mean, that's relatively pronounced, and I don't know if that's causing issues. My uncle said that like my swing speed isn't fast enough to be using like a proper proper stiff flex, but this is 6.0, a 6.0 graphite 6.0 graphite shaft, so that's supposed to be strong, I think, like relatively, but I think a lot of the times the club face is open at contact too, and that's what causes the spin. But otherwise, it's probably just swing path, and that's something that I've never been able to correct. So dead straight. I don't actually know what the root cause is of the swing path issue that I have. Like, I can't fix it. I've tried doing a lot of different things, and it just never seems to solve it. And it's very uncomfortable, or it takes a long time to get used to. And the one thing I'll say is that I'm not somebody who likes to get worse before I get better. I know that's relatively common to say, like, oh, you gotta break things down before you can build things up. But I'm looking to make progress every time I go, and I'm not looking to go backwards. So I feel like if I just play enough and get, you know, enough reps in, there won't be any, like, nothing like that needs to happen. So again, this time it looks like it's almost like the club is like kind of closed when it hits the ball there. Let's see what I think about that.
Slight fade.
Yeah, I was satisfied. A slight fade. So basically the whole day here I'd been kind of pushing the ball right of my line, and then it was fading a bit, so it was ending up pretty far offline. And obviously, you know, when you're doing that, that's not conducive to score improvement. But I mean, I don't know. I think another thing is like my hands and my body are out of sync. Look how freaking that club is. Yeah, the shaft is quite whippy. Time it looks like it's a little open, but I don't know. It always looks open to me.
Push fade.
And so you're gonna hear me say that a lot. Basically, I'm just calling out what happened with the shot. What I mean by push it is like it's not at the target line that I'm aiming at, and that's not necessarily a push. I think a lot of it is setup, honestly, because I feel like I'm aiming a certain way, and you're gonna hear me say this later in the video, but it's like actually every single shot goes the exact same place. So at that point, am I still pushing it? I don't really know. You know what I mean? But
push fade.
So we're gonna see a lot of that today. But let's just we're taking a look at every single one of these. So this is what I do in WoW, by the way. If you're unaware, just watch footage, see what I did wrong, see what other people did wrong, see what I can learn from. So I figure I might as well record this and put it on the channel because I'm having a lot of trouble making golf content. It's very it's a long thing to upload and a long thing to deal with. So now this time I can already tell the ball is a little bit too low, and I bet I can already tell what's going to happen here. Yeah, you see how low it was compared to the other ones? Not necessarily a problem.
Low fade.
Yeah, I already called that.
Low, medium fade.
And that's like exactly because I teed it up too low, honestly. So one of the big problems here, as you can probably tell by just looking at where I am, is that this ground is horrible. This is like, the ground is so uneven, and it's actually like sloped. It's actually very uncomfortable to hit tee shots off, and I ended up moving here. I hit a couple really bad ones, and then that's enough of that. Now here I think I'm just set up way too far from the ball, but it was hit well.
Very high but low fade. Very high, slight fade. That's what I mean.
Yeah, having trouble with the vernacular, obviously. But anytime, I don't know, like that's another question I have is like, do I want the ball to go high or do I want the ball to stay low? I don't know. This driver is like much more lofted than my other one, and I did change the setting to it's like you could de-loft it 1 degree. I changed that so it's 9.5 by like this definition of this like system that they're using, but I don't think it really works that way. And I cannot believe that seeing that shaft look like that. That's pretty nuts. But so like I'm not really sure what I can learn by seeing that. Like the ball is struck and the club just looks like really, doesn't the club look like really closed? I don't know.
Very slight fade.
That one looked pretty
Mostly
good.
hit pure.
I'm like recording like so robotic, like if it's funny. Anyway, I think we hit a couple more and then we move because the spot is really, I'm basically standing in a divot like right here. You can kind of see yeah, you can actually tell. You see how my heel is kind of, or my like ankle is kind of like turned because I'm standing in a divot, so that doesn't help.
Very slight fade. Hit pretty well. Kind of upper center of the club face.
Later on, I try to show where the ball struck the club face too, and I don't know how obvious that will be. We'll see. Tees break, and it just really, it's another big problem with this area. I never really wanted to come here on purpose, but I didn't actually have any cash on me, and this place is the only one that takes credit cards. It's basically like a self-service driving range. This is actually where I was the first video I ever made in golf. I was outside this place. It's kind of ironic, actually. I never go here. This is only the second time I've been here since I returned, mostly because I don't like to use a credit card if I don't have to. So that looks pretty good. The tee's pretty good height. Yeah, I just completely missed the ball. Let's see if we can look at this again. This is the same one, right? Yeah. Okay, so like as you see, I literally like missed the ball. I don't know necessarily how that happened, but let's find out. So yeah, out of the gate, I don't notice anything bizarre. The club is just really high. I don't know why that would be happening. I think that's actually it. Like, it's just the club is just way too high. Let's see it in real time. Yeah, I think the bottom. I think what hits the ball is actually the bottom of the club. Like, what the hell? That's really bizarre. But you see, I'm way out of balance because the ankle situation I was just describing. So
feet are very uneven.
I think we move after this, right? Yeah. So now we move to a second spot, and this isn't really any better. It's getting closer to being better. The main reason I didn't make the move that I finally make is because I really wanted to be able to, you just lost it there, but there's like a line over the trees. I wanted to avoid having to take that to hit it straight, which is what I eventually end up having to do. But let's see, got the bucket in the way a bit. Now that's just teed up way too low, and this is probably just me being a little frustrated with the ground and situation.
Pretty pronounced fade. Having a lot of trouble finding a spot I could put a tee in properly.
I'm hoping that maybe somebody out there is looking at this and they can say like, oh, look, this is why you're fading the ball, or this is what's going on, just from watching the footage. And you know, I'm hoping to watch the ones that go well and learn from them, and watch the ones that go bad and learn from them. That's what we're here today to do.
Well hit. Still fading.
There's a couple that I hit that I know at the end that are just absolutely dead straight and very pure. So those are the ones I want to compare to the other ones. Takes so long just to tee the ball up every time, though. This looks good, but
pushed fade again.
And what I mean by that, like the whole pushed concept.
Right at my target, and it's not straight, so.
Yeah, that whole concept is a little murky to me. Because I'm not exactly sure what that even means. All I know is I'm aiming at a certain area and the ball is going a certain other area. And I don't actually know if I'm still aiming. Like when I set up, I'm aiming that way. But because I do so much shifting, I'm not really sure if I'm still aiming that way. Obviously, that was really bad. Let's see. Let's watch that again. This is it, right? This time oh my god, look at how inside the club face that is. That's almost a shank. If the club head was lower, it would have hit the hosel. So that one kind of just barely grazes the ball and just kind of shoots it. It's kind of funny because it like smashed the ground right there. So it was hit firm. It's just completely off the... Yeah, that was really bad. Also, that's something that happens. Yeah, that was like a proper slice. I remember that one. When the tee kind of like jumps up out of the ground. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it doesn't happen all the time. So I'm sure there's something to be learned there. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about that either, but yeah, we'll see like a lot of that. That's how difficult it is just to get the tee in the ground. And basically, I like created a hole in the ground and I was just kind of placing the tee in after a while. That was a really good one.
Medium fade.
But still fading. See everyone's a fade. There's no like great ones until the end. So I just want to look at this and get like a visual, kind of like a memory of what it looks like when I hit the ball. Okay,
a good spot,
but not great. And then we'll see the ones at the end and really dissect them. Up until this point, though, I don't think I hit anything that I would consider like a good hit. So I'm trying to see the actual path that the club needs to take. And another thing, people say like hover the club before you swing. I don't really like that. I don't feel like I can do that well. This time I try to adjust my grip a bit, and I remember this doesn't. Yeah, no thanks.
Very low, barely hit it.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, no, the thing about it, like I try to make like these subtle adjustments that like feel good, and when something doesn't feel good, even if it's like kind of by the numbers a better idea, it just doesn't work for me. Like it's in my head, you know what I mean? It's like this isn't gonna work, even if it should.
Again, barely hit it. I don't know why that's happening at all.
Yeah, let's take a look at that because that's something wrong there, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I think it's just tempo. I think I just got the hips moving too early. But downswing's already begun, or maybe too late, if anything. They do look a bit closed. I'm not really sure why it would be happening. Like, I don't actually know what's wrong with the swing or how to not have that happen. It's almost like if it hits like off the wrong side of the club, I guess, maybe.
Again,
But
barely hit it. I don't
I'd
know why that's
imagine,
happening at all.
I'd imagine if it hits a foot in front of the tee, then I probably hit it like kind of off the bottom part of the club or something like that, right?
In the middle of my stance more, I think.
At this point, I'm thinking like I gotta move the ball.
It's so uneven, it's hard to stand straight.
It's possible because like the club might be coming up.
Ball again.
Okay, so that was me. Like, all right, I started blaming the ground at that point, and it's probably a safe bet because honestly, this definitely not a good driving range. But I was literally the only person there, so I felt comfortable, kind of talking and calling everything out. If I went to the place I wanted to go to, I would have recorded this all, but I wouldn't have been able to actually give like any type of commentary. So, it's normally that place is pretty busy.
Very low, still fading.
So that, I think that was just teed up too low. And I have this problem here because the grass is very long over here. I'm basically off like the far side of the range. But it's the only place that was even and there wasn't a ton of divots. This looks like the right tee length. But hit it really. I don't know. I don't know why that's happening, and I don't know what to look at to figure that out. Because like nothing really looks wrong. The only thing I could think of is the backswing is. I mentioned this. I thought I did anyway. My backswing kind of like tilts a little bit too much. Like the club head is like falling off the target line, I think, and then I have to kind of readjust it and pull it through, and that's when that kind of thing happens. But yeah, basically like the ball just went here instead of up in the air, so I'm not really sure what would cause something like that. Let's watch it again. Just starting too early or too late, I guess, one of the two. I mean, it looks like I'm closing the club. Yeah, it's almost like the club is just too high. Maybe I'm just too far from the ball, some of these.
The ball again. Wow. Probably the best one of the day.
Okay, so now things start to get good. All of a sudden, like I just turn it on. No, that looks like the club is, that's considerably different than what the club has looked like. But I'm not necessarily sure what I did differently. But I remember that because that was basically like the first good one I hit here, and it was like really straight and it barely turned anywhere. I definitely want to take one more look at this. I think the hips are really the key, honestly, and kind of like the upper body, like from above the hips to the upper body is the key. So, and I think like if you saw the arm kind of go, it was a little bit more shallow there when I was bringing it back. I think that's part of it too. But you could kind of, I wish I had a better angle here, but to get like everything I needed to, it's tough. I didn't want to be too far away from the ball because then you couldn't hear what I'm saying. But relatively like good kind of like not very everything's kind of quiet, and I don't know if that's a good thing, but we used to have a bit of a sway and some problems with that. Don't know what's with the artifacting. Makes it difficult.
Wow. Probably the best one of the day. The angle's hard to see where it landed, but it's mostly straight. Still hit a bit high in the face. Didn't really fade. Felt really good off the club face.
The big thing about this area is that I actually can't see the balls come down because I'm hitting over these trees.
Had more
sort
spine
of.
tilt that time. I think it's a big thing.
Yeah, this is now I get really spine tilt is getting really
Very
severe.
low again. There's like weeds right in front of me. Barely clearing them sometimes.
Yeah, so this
Like
weed
TFI,
area
I think.
kind of like wraps around to the front here. So basically, if I don't hit a good ball flight, it's gonna hit into those weeds and not go anywhere. But that's a good good training tool, I feel like. That one looked pretty good.
Another great one. Still fading though. Pretty pronounced fade still.
I hit a couple that are just dead center of the club face.
Pro V.
Yeah, it's like a random perfect Pro V in that, and I'm not gonna hit that. Or maybe I do, and there's another one later. But
Again, right into the woods or weeds. Never really got off the ground. It's tough to see because the grass is very high, so I don't know how appropriate the tee length is at a glance.
it's the right tee length though now. I don't know if the other ones were bad or what, but
Yeah, it's definitely a great one. Still fading, but quite good.
I'll tell you what,
Far
this club gives amazing feedback though. Like when I hit the center, it's like, oh my god, is it a good feeling?
I just don't want to be knocking them out of the back because that's pretty short.
But the problem is if I aim much more right, then I'm gonna go outside the range. I don't want to do that.
Like severely, barely caught it. Hit it like over here.
That was like so loud too compared to the other one, so that's obviously a sign that something's wrong. Probably get those tees that like prevent you from you literally can't tee it up wrong. It's like a thing on it that prevents you from teeing it up at different lengths. See, that spine tilt is really severe.
Actually missed, legitimately. Did not make contact.
I should probably watch that one again because I don't know what the hell I did wrong. It's almost like I'm starting to get a little too, I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is probably the way I fix this. Launch the ball higher. And then I'm kind of getting a little too weird. But you can tell the hips are really late on that one. That's ultimately why, I think. I don't actually know what side I missed the ball on, but I actually barely touch it. It's not the best. I guess I need to shoot at 120 frames per second or something.
That's good. Good ball flight, but popped it up. Went pretty straight. Kind of hit it right here.
Yeah, good. You're able to see that well. That's pretty good. The balls oftentimes leave a mark on the club, which I find helpful, but I don't know.
Broke. Supposed to be unbreakable.
These tees are supposed to be unbreakable, and they're still finding ways to break them. They're just way too flexible. It's hard to get them in the ground up here. I have to use these wooden tees. Just bought a ton of tees from Dick's. It was pretty cheap.
The weeds. Trying to get the ball back further in my stance to try to change something, but I can barely hit the ball off the ground when I do that. I just don't think that works for me.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people have said this.
A lot of people say it's too far, but I just can't hit the ball if it's not. I feel like I'm not the right distance from the ball.
I don't know why that's always been a problem for me, but ooh, that was hit well.
Very big slice.
But still slicing. But anyway, the ball has always been really far forward in my
taking it
stance.
back a lot less.
Let's see this. I remember changing this.
I've seen that happen too for people. It's in the backswing that's causing problems. I had that problem when I played last time with the irons and stuff. I think that's what was causing it. The backswing was too exaggerated.
That's teed up way too low as well.
So a lot of times I'm like this, club's dipping, having trouble getting it closed, I guess.
That's what's happening with the irons. I don't think that's what's happening with the driver.
Probably gonna make it worse, but we'll see.
The profit.
Yep. Did not touch the ball, barely hit it. Right into the weeds.
I think a lot of it's just me having inconsistent motions with my legs too, honestly.
Yeah, it's really hit well in the middle of the face, but slicing big. It's more of a fade, but still pushed it.
I love that though. When you get a good center strike with this club, oh my god, is it gorgeous. It's just, it feels like something I've never felt before in golf. Same with the irons, actually. That's the big difference from the old clubs I was using.
Okay, that was good. Still fading severely. Not that severe. It's like a medium fade. Ball flight was really good though. Came off the face really good.
I'm trying to struggle with this.
About
Yeah, look
right
at that.
here.
That's pretty good. A little bit on the inside.
The center.
I'm still hitting it a bit on the inside. I don't know why, on the heel or whatever. I struggle with that, like mentally. Like if the ball ever goes left to right at all, I feel like I've done something severely wrong. So that wasn't hit that good.
Yeah, everyone's fading, but they're hit well. Now I'm starting to get club head at the right place. Still a bit off the heel, but I think that's part of the slice, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not like. What do you guys know about
Old
this?
driver, I always hit off the toe. A lot of strikes over here. This one's all off this side.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's different. Like, I didn't change anything, but somehow on this club, every time I hit the ball, it's on the inside, whereas on the other club, it was constantly on the...
Really well off the center. You can actually see the marks of dead center, but still slicing severely.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I remember that.
Let's say a lot more than I wanted to. People have said it's not a slice, it's a fade, but it's not going where I wanted to, so I don't care what it is. Not intentional.
This one's teed a lower. Let's see. That was
coming. I can see it happening. The club is like this as I'm coming through the ball. I'm not sure why. I think it's to do with the weight of the club compared to my old club, because this never really happened. Or it did, but it wasn't as difficult to mitigate, I guess. It's the big problem. Having trouble mitigating it, like severe trouble. I can't do it at all, it seems.
that to me looks like the right length, like a little bit higher than you'd expect. Just kidding.
That time I tried to keep it out further so it wouldn't do that, and I just didn't hit the ball, literally.
Yeah, see, like whenever I've tried to fix this, like out to in or whatever they call it, the swing path, I always just, it's just like I can't hit the ball. I literally can't hit the ball. So I don't know.
Again, huge slice. Hit well though. I'm starting hitting very well. Again, right off the center. I can just stop slicing it. I bet these would go really far.
And we had some that are absolutely bombed. But yeah, for the most part, this is my biggest issue. Like, I hit the driver well, but I always lose distance because of this, this little shot fade kind of thing. So, not trying to do it, and I don't know how to solve it, other than relearn how to swing the club.
Okay, so that time I tried something, just kind of in the middle of the swing there to slow the tempo down here. It was a lot better of a strike. Still where I wanted it, kind of a little high that time. Didn't slice. It didn't slice at all, really. Very slight fade, but slow tempo. Obviously, I need to be able to do that at full speed.
Yeah. So I don't know. Actually, look. Let's go back because.
Slice it all.
It's really the same swing. There's a couple where I actually like stop in the middle of my backswing
that time I tried.
Is that what it looks like? Because I felt like I was stopping for like multiple seconds, but I guess not. That's just it's crazy how finicky that is. But my hands look a lot better coming through the ball.
Better of a strut. Slow tempo, obviously. I need to be able to do that at full speed.
And that's like, I don't even know if that's true or not. Like, is it better to make good straight contact with the ball and lose a bunch of club head speed? Or is it not? Like, I don't actually know. My uncle said, like, he's like, just swing away. Who cares about the slice? Like, if you swing harder and hit the ball further and lose yards, you're still gaining yards net than trying to, like, slow the swing down severely just to hit it straight. I don't know if that's true or not. That's the one.
That's it there. Dead straight. Hit really well.
Okay, that's the one. I remember doing this now. I literally like stop, like a hitch in the swing. And I'm not necessarily sure what it changes, but whatever it changed, it was like absolutely perfect.
That's it there. Dead straight.
Let's watch this whole thing again. Which I almost just practice
dead straight
from the top of the
really
swing,
well.
I think.
Really try to slow it down. Bring my hips through first, which was something I had been doing a lot with the old driver. Having trouble doing it this time because the club is so light. It's like basically I have to stop my swing like that to be able to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case. Like the club is so light that I'm not in control of it as I'm swinging it.
That was dead straight. That's exactly what I want.
And maybe it's just the shaft, but that's the way it feels anyway.
Too much. Hips went too quick. Pulled it way left. Hit the weeds again. Not sure what can actually be seen, but there's a patch of weeds. You can probably see them over here. And I just keep kind of hitting the top of them and then it goes nowhere. I could try leaning more maybe, but I never really felt like I had to with the old stance, the old club. And that's popped up severely because of that.
We hit a lot of balls though.
Could try exaggerating the heel again, or whatever the try exaggerating the stance a bit too again. That caused me to always pull the ball, but at least so we'd know it's feedback, it's working. Yeah, that's definitely a lot better.
Wow, that looked really good.
Still fading very slightly. It's feedback, it's working.
Oh, that's hit perfect.
Yeah, that's
wow.
Definitely a lot better. I always pull the ball, but at least so we'd know it's feedback, it's working. Yeah, that's definitely.
And that's just me getting that hip through quicker,
Still
I think.
Fading very slightly.
Makes a big difference.
But it's way better.
I just don't really understand the mechanics of what's happening and what isn't, you know?
Another Pro V. I don't know why I'm hitting this.
Yeah. That's like
perfectly usable Pro V.
Another perfect Pro V. I just swapped that out with a ball from my back because that's a bit ridiculous. $4 golf ball on a driving range.
Still fading. That one was hit. It was pushed more than anything. I think that's just about timing. I'm coming through the ball too quickly. My body's not there yet.
I also have a lot of trouble keeping my shirt tucked into my pants. I don't know if anybody else has that trouble.
Get the tee in the ground here.
I have a lot of trouble with that.
Oh, that's really well hit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Sounded good, didn't it?
Actually, the best one of the day, for sure. Really well
Okay,
hit.
so we definitely want to watch that one again. And I think, honestly, a big part of it is the extra tilt. See, like, the club is meant to be aligned, and I'm not really sure why I stopped doing this. The club is meant to be aligned with the shoulder, and it's not been like that for a while. I think that's part of the problem. Maybe it has something to do with the driver. It might actually have some, what would they call this? The kick point or something like that? It might have something to do with the shaft. Well, let's see what happens here. Hips are definitely like way more open. See, like torso's facing this way and hips are facing this way. And I feel like that's very important for me. And I don't necessarily know why, but you could tell the times when it works and when it doesn't. There's a big difference. Like a club is dead square coming through the ball there. Yep, and it hit it, you know, on the upswing still. That's perfect.
Oh, that's really well hit.
Really well hit, yep, for sure.
Actually, the best one of the day.
Wish I could show you where they land.
That one.
I need like a second camera for that, I guess, right?
Didn't try to swing as hard. Made sure the tempo was good, and I stayed back a little bit.
It said I could use my phone, but my phone is not good enough.
Break like the second you hit the ball, basically.
I'd need to get like a second battery for the phone somehow or something like that if I was going to record this much too. It's crazy because like the phone's more expensive than the camera I bought.
Another pretty good one.
That looks really good, doesn't it?
Didn't really hit it that far, but sounded really good off the club face. There's a lot of marks on the club now, so I'm having trouble figuring out which one's which.
I think a lot of this is just this whole keeping everything a little bit more tilted. And it's causing me to kind of keep my arm, you can't see what I mean, but like kind of keep my arm in more. And it's not flaring out or whatever. I think that's a big part of it, honestly. See, like the arm kind of has a more shallow kind of path around my body. And then see now, this is not good though. Like this means I'm like a little too overextended. And I was trying to get away from that today, but yeah, look at that. We're still in the backswing at this point. That is it's way too much. And then I kind of turn. It's not really what you want to be doing, I don't think.
Another really good strike, but still fading.
It was hit well though.
These are good hits. I don't feel like they're going very far, but they are good hits and they're not slicing. So I think what we found out, a little bit more lean with this club for whatever reason. Try to keep the shoulders through that lean as we get to the ball. That was something I didn't really ever do in the first place. I was kind of picked up as we went through, but now we'll kind of try to launch it. That still happens regardless of the driver. Sometimes I just push the hips too quick and the club's all out of whack. You get hit really well. It's just, first of all, it's pushing every time. I mean, I'm literally aiming all the way there, and it's probably about 70 yards right after it fades a bit. But it's really well struck. Certainly better than any ball I hit with my old driver. Right off the center. It's just always going right, start to finish. So I almost wish I could close the face maybe a degree. That would help. I don't know. Oh, okay, that's another really good one. Still fading though.
It just sounds so good, doesn't it? It's crazy.
Really. Close the face maybe a degree. That would help.
See if we could learn anything.
I don't know.
But yeah, I can already tell, like,
close the face maybe.
the club head is like, or the club in general is like closer to my body. See, like it's almost like the shoulder and the arm are way more tucked in compared to the other swings. I think that's part of it.
Oh, okay, that's another really good one. Still fading though.
I figure out what's going on with this artifact.
Really well hit. Like again, not leaving a mark, but really well hit that one. Very, very well hit. Another good one, but still slicing severely. Something different. I don't know what it is. Hopefully I'll figure it out while watching this, but
Was it the shaft? I mean, I don't know.
Swing I took with the other driver would have sent it almost kind of tumbling over itself, maybe a slight draw if anything. This same swing with this club is producing consistent fade at least, if not slice, depending on the definition, I suppose. That was really well hit. Very slight fade that time. That's probably, besides that one that I hit dead straight, that's probably the best non-slice.
That one just came out more left too.
Yeah, that's really good. That might take over as the best one.
Now we're really hitting a stride. And I think a lot of this is just getting comfortable too, because those first like 20 or 30 balls I hit, I was just not comfortable at all. Oh.
It's the push is the problem, really. It's not that much of a fade. I wish I could show both, but it's not that much of a fade at all at this point. It's just pushing.
Yeah, the ball's kind of like
constantly right at my target.
Kind of turning at the last second.
So like, you know, the short answer is just that's my new target. Like adjust where I think it's going, but again with the old driver, look at that. Wow. See it dead center of the club face. Hopefully you can see that.
Probably not, but yeah, that's the difference.
I definitely think turning everything over, keeping it like that. I think maybe I'm just a little too far from the ball with this driver. That might be why that's happening, but again, really well hit. But I could see it happening as the ball is contacted. I could see the club face coming to the left of it.
Maybe I'm too close. Like, I still don't know why I'm hitting it off the heel a lot, but now it seems like that doesn't happen. Like in this part of the session, I don't have that much problems.
It's gonna be teed up too high probably, but let's see.
Yeah, a little too high.
No, that was really good. Slight fade, but really well hit. Another one really well hit. Still fading though. Everything's a slight fade now. This small adjustment I made, mostly I think it's the lean, a little bit of lean and more pronounced turn. For some reason my hands are all black. Can't be the grip.
Oh, it's just, those are really good. I could tell.
Definitely better. I mean, the ball's getting struck really well. It's just still not going where I want it.
And I think I talk about this, but I'm starting to believe that it's not actually a problem. Like, now that I've hit the ball the exact same place like 10 times in a row, I'm starting to think that it's not actually a problem. It's not actually pushing. Like, the ball is not, it's not something wrong. It's just my expectation is wrong.
That was really well hit. again. Again, dead center. It's just dead center. Every strike is really well hit now. So that's good. At least we're hitting the ball better. Even if we're losing distance because of the fade, we should be gaining just because of that.
It's really good.
A little low on the face. Maybe it's too much off the heel, probably.
The problem is now that like I'm hitting that hybrid so well, if I don't like make great contact with the driver, the hybrid's almost as far as the driver. And I don't know if maybe that's what I should be learning from is what I'm doing with that hybrid. That sound.
Everyone fades, but it's all really well hit.
That difference in sound has got to be notable in some way, and I don't know what it's noting. Like I don't know what that means. But there's times where I hit that driver and it sounds like it sounds completely different. I don't know why that's happening. It's got to be based on where the ball's hitting the club face.
A lot better. Went up farther. Probably carried more.
I think they've spent like a bunch of time trying to make this club more muted. People were talking about that in the last generation of the driver, that it was like really weird sounding. And honestly, I kind of don't dislike that. Like, I think it would actually be a confidence booster, but
that one did not push at all. If anything, I pulled it a little bit. It's the first one that actually went where I expected it to go, but it went a bit too much left. And it still faded.
yeah, let's see here. I think I eventually comment on the fact that I'm starting to think this is not, like, that was actually a pull, and the rest are just normal.
That's really well hit. That's very straight too. Probably the best ball flight of the day. Not like super well hit, but very good ball flight. Really good too. That's straight as an arrow. This time I'm trying to hold my hand still through release a bit. I keep them head of the club, I guess. Not really sure. I could just feel it happening.
And I know grip has a big part to do with this, but I don't know what part it has to do with it. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. Like your grip is causing you to have a shot shape as well. That was teed way too low.
Too low.
I literally see that before I even swing. I don't know why I even swing. That's even
Still too low.
Yeah, that's even too low.
The hole is like creating an actual hole in the ground, so it's just
Oh yeah, that's the
falling
issue.
lower and lower every time.
The club is like, it's causing the tee to like bounce, and it's kind of like creating a hole in the ground. Still a bit low, but it should be good.
It's pulled really bad that time.
Okay, that one like, you could actually see.
That time.
So that's really bad. Obviously, I'm aiming to the right of that tree, and it almost went through that tree, I think.
It's pretty good. Still fading, but certainly better than otherwise. Still pushed it. I mean, I don't know. Most of the balls are pushed. But if that's consistent, then I'm fine with it. As long as I know where to expect the ball to go, I'll be happy with its result.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm starting to think
Not
like
really
it's...
the fade that's causing the problems now. It's more the push.
Yeah, the fade is like really gentle at this point, so it's almost like this could actually be a good thing.
That was dead straight, but it hit very poorly. I think I hit
That-
it off the heel or something really bad.
I think I hit it at too low as well. That's it. I literally only hit driver here today. Didn't even take another club out of the bag. Trying to solve this here. That just looks so freaking good, though.
That was just where I was aiming. It'd be so good. Really good ball flights. Just slight fade and push. Everything's pushed. I guess that's just where I'm aiming. I don't know how, but definitely not aiming there. That's where it's ending every single strike. You can't see it, but
Yeah, it's like probably
like
20 balls in a row.
Knoll over there lands right next to it.
20 balls in a row.
Every ball is the same place, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it means I'm not making any progress, but I'm getting more consistent.
Yeah, and at this point I'm starting to think like, hey, it's probably just fine to do this and just play it like this. Does it hit so well though?
Yeah, these are not bad balls at all. To complain about these is really silly.
Just like with the irons, I feel like I have to know exactly where I'm hitting it before I hit it. And with the driver, I don't feel like I get that luxury a lot of times, so I'm trying to get better with that. And it's not really going any better. Yeah, that was...
Not one you can complain about.
You could tell I was like shifting my weight a little bit too much. Once I like lose rhythm, it takes me a little bit long to get back into it. And I was just way too fast. Everything was too fast there. The club head's kind of like leaning forward. I'm still not really sure what like the mechanics are that cause that to happen. It's a problem because I don't actually know what I'm doing wrong there. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't look particularly different.
That is crushed.
But meanwhile,
Definitely the furthest of the day.
absolutely crushed that one. I remember that.
Too fast on the body.
I want to see that again.
Swing or something.
This is a bit hard to believe that the previous one was not even hit, and then the second one was. This is random one. Didn't mean to press that. But see, I don't like this. I don't like seeing this much of the club. It means I'm kind of extending too much here. But I guess if it's going well, that's a long one. Oh my god, that's really nuts, actually. But I guess I'm getting more power out of it, right? Because the swing is longer. Everything looks like it's progressing well in the swing. Oh, it still looks a bit open at that point. It is definitely a bit open, and that's probably why it's pushing, quote unquote. I should try to, I don't know how to fix that, but.
That is crushed. Definitely the furthest of the day. But definitely slicing still.
Its range isn't very long,
Fading, whatever you want to
and I'm
call it.
pretty sure I hit some of them out of the back
Not
of
that
it.
far right of line, but
Unfortunately.
not when you're already pushing it. You don't want it to also do that.
But yeah, hitting it, you know, right of where I'm aiming and a slight fade is not, it's not a good combo.
That's really well hit. I don't see them land, so I don't know how far they actually go, but anyway, that's just because we're over here. This is the only place I can get tees in the ground, basically.
It's the only like nice area of the ground. I wouldn't mind hitting an iron out of some of those other spots because, you know, you have odd lies with irons. But with driver, I'm trying to replicate an actual tee box.
That's pretty straight, but I definitely didn't hit it well. It still went really well. That's the nice thing about this driver. That same strike on my old driver would have lost probably 50 yards. That was well hit. The result was good, but the hit was not.
Yeah, that's another
It's
thing.
also the ball, so I'm using.
Another nice thing about this driver. sometimes it's like I hit it a little bit off the heel or toe, and it was like you barely notice any difference.
Okay, that is really well hit. Wow. I'm striping it now. Still fading though.
And it's only gets better.
Really good. And again,
these next few are
all going
really
in the
good.
same spot, so I guess that's just my new line. Open up a bit more to the left and just assume it's going to go where.
I think this time I hit it really far.
The club head is more important than anything at this point. Let's try to really aim left. I hate to do this because if I hit it well, it's going to go in the.
So I'm basically aiming over this area now, where I should be aiming over here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, and that still goes right of my target, but
I think it came through. That went pretty much where I wanted it, so it's fine. Okay, that's really good. That's the best of the day right there. I gotta shoot that. I actually saw that one land.
yeah, so I actually go over to
5.
shoot it.
I can't tell because there's woods back there. You never know how long it would have rolled out, but
It's good. A couple good ones here. I couldn't really get a good distance though because there's all kinds of weeds and trees in front of where I'm aiming.
another really good one. Still fading, but pushed a bit, like marginal push, marginal fade.
Still like a bit.
I could play that all day. I mean, Tiger Woods had no problem, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really not as big of a deal as I'm making it sound, but still a bit of a sway, right? Is that?
A bit more.
Did you say that?
Fade. Probably like a medium fade. I don't even think the camera could see me. Hopefully it can. Keep slightly altering the stance and the position of the ball, and it's probably causing problems.
I always do this, thinking like the camera's like up, not even. I mean, it's like probably like 4 feet away from the ball, but because of the lens on it, it's like a lot easier to see the whole frame. I always think it's not close enough or far enough.
Still fading, but they're good. That one I think actually might have been off the toe a little bit. I'm not seeing a mark anymore for some reason. Try getting a bit closer. That shouldn't happen. Much better strike. Still, I would say that's a pretty severe fade, but not everybody does. That's straight. That one I really got the hips through quicker.
Yeah, let's see that one. Quite happy with that one. Didn't look like it was hit very well. But you see, like, this is like already towards the target almost before the downswing even properly begins.
That's straight. That one I really got the hips through quicker. And I think that should be the longest one of the day too.
And I'm not sure why that helps me. I don't actually know, but it's consistently helped me with the old driver and with the new one. If I can get like my lower half turned quicker than my hands are coming down, I guess it helps me close the club face quicker or easier or something. But that's basically been a thing the whole time. Like the whole summer I've noticed that. If my lower half lags behind my upper half, then I'm slicing, like not only just slicing, but ball's way right.
Really crushed.
Or more so, it's got action on it, side spin on it.
Okay, that's far. That's a very good one.
That was another good one. No,
now that's the new best one.
No real like action on that one at all. Seat up a bit high.
I mean, compared to the others, that's a severe fade. That's a good 20 yards off where I wanted it. didn't push, but it still faded. No push, still fade.
And I think that just means I pulled it a bit, honestly, because it did look like didn't look like the other swings for whatever reason.
Not bad at all. Still fading, but everyone is at this point, so there's been a couple that were dead straight. So really I'd say probably just aim left center of the fairway, and as long as the fairway is not like 10 yards wide, we'll be happy with this.
Yeah, that's a good
Way too high.
moment of revelation for me. It's like, you know what, if I'm doing this every single, like, this is like 30 some balls in a row going to the exact same spot, and they're actually like getting better, some of them are really far, it's like, why is this a problem? I don't, you know what I mean?
Much straighter at least. I'd say again it didn't fade, or it didn't push, but it still faded.
Just not sure like what the root cause of the issue is, though. That's my big issue. I'd love to solve that, or love to understand what to do other than rebuild my swing to prevent that, because there's got to be something mechanically that can be altered.
When I pulled a bit, much better direction because that's where I wanted it, but I definitely pulled it.
And again, I honestly like I said there, basically just aim left.
We got about 10 balls left.
And if I have to play out of the left rough, that's a win. You know what I mean? As long as we're not so far right that we're unplayable.
Much better.
You see how the tee? I'm almost like more interested in what's going on with the tee. Sometimes the tee just like tumbles backwards, and I don't know what's causing that. It kind of, I guess what happens is it kind of bounces, and then the ricochet bounces it back. Interesting.
Very slight fade. Still pushed, but very slight fade.
But it's, I don't know, there's got to be something to learn from the tees, situation with tees too, I'd imagine, because obviously I'm hitting them too. And that might not be a good thing. Or maybe it is a good thing, I don't know.
That's really pushed. That's pushed the worst I've had. But it's not really fading much.
And that is the thing. It's not like the amount of side spin is varying too.
These tees are just going back here, I guess.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing. But I think it's not abnormal is my point. Not necessarily a good thing, but it's not really abnormal for people. See how difficult.
A lot of times when I tee it, it's just based on effort. So when I put a lot of effort in and it doesn't go anywhere, I don't end up realizing that until I hit it.
And that's been a problem I've had even at actual golf courses. That looks pretty good. Oh, that was that good.
Push severely. That would be great if that was where I was aiming. It'd be really well hit. I mean, that's probably like 100 yards right, honestly, at that one. I do adjust the stance a bit. Yeah, I guess, yeah, like if you're counting this, I guess it's not really. When I set up, that matters, right, of course, so. It's really, yeah, actually, from that perspective, it's hit pretty well. That's slicing.
If you're not
For sure.
not aware of what I'm talking about there, I'm talking about closing my shoulders by kind of dropping my foot a bit, and that was, you know, a big part of my early problems with slicing. And I felt like I actually figured that out with the old driver, but
6 balls left. Let's make good ones.
now we're back to having the problem. And I think it's, yeah, the club difference is obviously a big part of it. I'm just not sure what now needs to be adjusted, because I had pretty much figured it out with the old driver, and I had a feeling this was going to happen. I should have just stuck with it. That was a really good one. You can just tell by the way it sounded. think it's just the hips are more towards the target. Oh, God, that sound is so good, though.
At least it felt good off the club. I can never tell where it lands. Keep like launching the tees somewhere.
Still not sure how that's. It's so weird. Like that tee is like probably freaking
seeing how that's happening too.
10 yards behind where I'm putting it in the ground. So we only got like 5 balls left. Actually, I think it's 6 because I take one out and hit another one.
I feel like the wind took or something because that felt good. Just a bit too much. A slight push and a pretty bad fade. There we go. That's pulled, but it's way closer to where I was aiming.
That's interesting because I could already see like first of all, I'm like almost like hunched over more as well as the tilt. A lot more weight on this leg, I think. And I kind of come back a little bit more shallow when I make the turn.
There we go.
I just don't know if that's a good,
but
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just so hard for me to know, like,
because I don't know. I think I take those. I'm so often right that I feel like that's better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like, oftentimes this wouldn't get me in trouble at the courses that I've played at, you know. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
That is absolutely smoke.
These last few I hit really well. Honestly, I wanted to buy another bucket.
So I have no idea. That's got to be the best one of the day.
I basically bought 3 buckets of balls, 100 and some balls.
That's even better.
It just sounds so good, right? Like there's such a big difference in the sound, and I don't know why that might be happening. Just hitting it off the center of the face with good pace, I guess. Yeah, it's just perfectly, like, that's exactly where the club face should be facing at this point, right? You can tell because you can see enough of the front and enough of the back, even though it's not perfect quality there.
Oh, that's even better. Even better. Ripping them.
I think this one's really good too.
Ones have been really good.
And then the next one. I remember the final one I hit was not great for some reason. Oh, that's teed up way too high, Jesus. Not that high.
It's really high.
But that I could figure out.
It's a bit fadey.
Teed up a bit too high, so.
Very well. That one I think I hit. Yeah, a little bit higher in the face, right about there.
That's good though, because it means that like if I can tell
Last one.
that if I can tell why that's happening and I'm actually hitting it higher in the face because I teed it up slightly higher, then that's good feedback. You know, like that means I'm being consistent at least with the swings in some way.
I have one more to hit.
Yeah, I actually get a ball out of my bag to hit because I wanted to hit one more good one. That one wasn't great. And this is the final one. I think this one's hit really well. Let's see it. And that's it. So let me know what you think, I guess. If anybody has any suggestions. Really like to
teed up, that's why.
Really like to get like, you know, an opinion of somebody who actually like, you know, knows what they're looking at, because I don't. That's the problem. Yeah, that was the best one of the day, actually, ironically, if I remember correctly. see it again. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like, I feel like this is really good because like this, whenever the upper body is kind of faced behind the hips, I feel like I make good swings. And that is, yeah, that was hit really far. I'm pretty sure that one went off the back of the range. And again, it's not very far. But
all right,
that's it. So yeah, I watched the whole thing. So let me know what you guys think. If anybody knows anything or has any suggestions, maybe about what I should do with the footage, maybe try to send it to somebody. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll continue learning and getting better at golf together.